And we are live and recording.
Okay, I'll give it a couple more seconds for students to join. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started. Hello all, I'm so glad to be here today. My name is Marie Schaller and I'm an Education Abroad coordinator. And I advise students on faculty and staff-led programs, and I also advise students interested in studying in Eastern Europe, so mainly Prague. I have one summer engineering program in Prague in my region, but other than that, I don't often get to talk to engineering students, which is why I am so excited to talk to you all today. One more thing about me is that I supervise our student employees, who we call peer advisors. These are students that have been abroad before, so they know all about the process and can help other students through the process too. I'd also like to introduce you to my colleague, Drew Doty. Take it away, Drew.
Thanks, Marie. Hello, everyone. I'm seeing a bunch of people start to come into the session here today. We're so excited to have you and to talk to you about education abroad opportunities, specifically for engineering majors. My name is Drew Doty. I'm also an education abroad coordinator in the Office of International Programs. I advise regionally for Oceania, which is Australia, New Zealand, and the South Pacific. And then I also manage a handful of staff and faculty-led programs all around the world. In fact, me and Marie used to share an office, so we go way back. Before we get started today, though, we would love to make this a little more interactive. While you as participants are not able to come on camera or use your microphone, we would love for you to be active in the Q&A chat box down at the bottom of your screen. So right now, as we're getting started, if you wouldn't mind, each of you just letting us know your name, your major, and where you might be excited to study abroad at. That would be really helpful. We'll give you a couple minutes here to enter those into the chat box now.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. And today we're here to talk about education abroad at CSU. And even though it's a new and strange time due to COVID, this can still be a good time to think and plan to go abroad in the future once it's safe to do so. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And by the end of this presentation, you'll know the what, why, when, and where, and how of education abroad for college. So I'm really excited to see all of your comments in the Q&A box. Let's move on. First, I'll define what I mean when I talk about education abroad. Our office changed our name from Study Abroad to Education Abroad a couple years ago because Study Abroad wasn't encompassing of all of the incredible experiences students were having abroad. So in addition to study abroad programs, there's also opportunities for internships, service learning, and conducting research abroad. You can think of education abroad as a general term that can encompass all of these activities. Here at CSU, our education abroad coordinators can help advise and support you in any of the opportunities abroad. And as you can see, going abroad is pretty popular. Students from CSU go abroad, which is a lot higher than the national average, and that's coming up to 1 in 4 pretty soon. So that's exciting. So what do I gain from an education abroad experience? There is a variety of academic, career, and personal benefits an education abroad experience can give you. It can prepare you to work in a global world, expand your global mindset. You can gain adaptability, increase self-confidence and flexibility, that's a big one, and develop new skills to take with you after graduation. It can challenge you to grow in new ways, like communicating in another language or interacting with people from different backgrounds. And my favorite, something I really learned, was dealing with ambiguity. So a little about me. I studied abroad in Lyon, France, and I had been studying French since I was young and always dreamed of studying in France. And so while I was there, I stayed in a homestay, I took classes, I volunteered with a local Montessori. So all of this, I really learned how French people lived and taught others. Also, there was another exchange student who lived in the homestay, Sophia, and she's from Lund, Sweden. And so not only did I get to learn about the French, I also got to learn about Swedish culture, which was really cool. One of my favorite things I still reflect on was my cross-cultural management class. So in undergrad, I studied international business management, and I just loved my cross-cultural management class because I got to learn the subject with people from all over the world, and it was such a rich experience. And students often have classes like these that they just like really connect with and are inspired by. So I felt a lot more mature after coming back. I got a lot more clarity on what I wanted to do after. So it's an example of, for me, how education abroad was more than just taking classes at a university. It's a common myth that education abroad will delay your graduation rate. In fact, CSU studies found that those who went on an education abroad experience graduated at the same rate, if not quicker, than CSU students who didn't go abroad. Okay, when and where can you go? So RAMs all over the world. We have over 1,000 programs in over 80 countries. And a cool thing is that we've had students who have gone to all 7 continents, which is cool because actually there's a program in South America where they do an excursion to Antarctica. Neat. So in addition to all of the different places that you can go, students can go abroad in all terms. So for fall semester, fall break, winter, or winter break, spring semester, spring break, and summer. And they can go up to, they can be anywhere from just a week to up to a full academic year. So basically we can find a fit for any student, keeping in mind their location of interest, academic focus, and budget. At CSU, the majority of our programs are in non-English speaking countries, though many of these programs offer coursework in English. So for example, you can study business in Thailand or biology in Spain, all with an English curriculum. So looking at stats and past data for engineering students. So in 2018 to 2019, 15.9% of engineering students studied abroad. And the year before that, 16.9% of engineering students studied abroad. The top destinations for students over the years have been Ecuador, for engineering students over the years, have been Ecuador, El Salvador, the United Kingdom, and China. So I want to know from you, would you choose to study in one of these countries or would you prefer somewhere else? And as we can see at the bottom, the breakdown there, civil and environmental engineering students followed closely by mechanical engineering students who had the most students go abroad. And I want to know, what benefits do you think they experienced by going abroad that the rest of their classmates didn't get? So I'd love to see your answers in the Q&A. Moving on to recommended programs. So nearly every CSU department has an approved recommended programs abroad list. So our office created these lists in partnership with the academic departments. So this list is just a start. It lists only a few programs, but you can be confident that if a program is on this list, then there are multiple course offerings that could fulfill your degree requirements. And this is really neat because with the over 1,000 programs, that's a lot to sift through. So recommended programs is a great place to start. And as always, be sure to communicate with your academic advisor about your academic needs. So you can see this slide landed on biomedical engineering, but you can find your major on the list to the left. So program type. So in order to offer CSU students as many education abroad opportunities as possible, we have a variety of program models available. So next we'll talk about CSU exchange programs, CSU affiliates, faculty and staff-led programs. So each of these programs has a variety of experiences, from housing and accommodations to classroom experiences, to fieldwork opportunities, to internships, placements, and so on. But before we dive in and move on, I want to know, does anyone have any questions? Drew, anything? Drew, you might be muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just reading through real quick. All right, from Emmanuel. Um, Emmanuel is from Nigeria. He's been admitted for the spring of 2021 to chemical engineering. He was granted an assistantship for his program. He's asking, what happens if I am only able to get research supervision, but no research assistantship? How do I get assistantship for my program as cost of my attendance is so huge and I'm a first generation student?
Oh,
Emmanuel, I think, go ahead,
yeah,
Maria.
Emmanuel, it sounds like your questions are great questions for another office in our department, International Student and Scholar Services. So these are great questions for them since I hear that you're an international student. Drew, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, you took the words out of my mouth. Otherwise, we don't have any other questions yet.
Okay, great. I'll move on. First on my list is an exchange program. This is Swansea University in Wales. So a great place to start if you are interested in Swansea is to come to our office and to chat with Claire Lavelle, who's a CBE advisor. Claire is incredibly knowledgeable about this program and has been to Swansea many times. So if you're interested, find Claire. If you're interested in talking to students who participated in our program, one of our peer advisors in the office, Brennan, who's a civil engineering major, did this program last spring. Also, Brennan likes to hike, so I'm sure he can give you recommendations for good hikes if you're in Swansea. But anyway, this is Swansea. It's a semester program, and it's in Swansea, Wales. And English is spoken in Wales, but it's a completely different country, culture, and field from the US. So students receive help arranging housing for either residents on campus or university managed flats in the local area. And this is really popular with engineering students because of its course offerings. And as you can see, this campus is right on the beach of Swansea Bay. The country has a distinct identity formed by the Welsh culture, the wild coastline, and the mountainous terrain. And it's also a 2-hour train ride to London. So it is more modern than the surrounding areas, and then also a quick ride to London. And it provides an interesting contrast of old and new. And if you're interested in studying at Swansea University, I encourage you to come talk to our Education Abroad coordinator, Christopher Snodgrass, who advises for this region. I also wanted to mention the University of South Australia. Drew advises for this program, so I'll let him chat about it in a second, but it's a semester program. And the University of South Australia is located in Adelaide, which is the capital of the state of South Australia. And Australia is also English speaking, of course. And so this program has very strong offerings for STEM majors. So students can stay in dorms or student apartments or homestays. And what's neat about this program is that it's an urban campus. So students can be taking courses in buildings throughout the city. So they get a really unique opportunity to really feel a part of the city as they're taking courses. I also hear that Adelaide is known as the 20-minute city because it takes 20 minutes to get from the city to the hills or beaches. I'll hand it over to Drew. Drew, do you have anything to add about this program?
It's a great introduction to University of South Australia, Marie. Just a couple things. This program, if you're a student who uses GI Bill benefits to support the cost of your education, this program, you can use your GI Bill benefits at University of South Australia. And then the only other thing I was going to say for comparison, to give you an idea of what it might be like in Adelaide, Sydney is the capital, of course, of Australia, and it's kind of comparable to LA in the United States, being that it's this huge multicultural hub, obviously the biggest city, whereas Adelaide here in the South of Australia is what we hear from students often is that you get more of an Australian feel in this city. It's where Australian culture kind of shines through. Not that there aren't other international people in the city, but it's a great place to really experience what living in Australia is like.
Thanks,
Back to
Drew.
you, Mary.
The next program I wanted to talk about is what we call in our office an affiliate program. So what does affiliate mean and how is it different from an exchange? So affiliates are organizations that send students abroad. So in this case, CEA. This means that there's an organization that helps students with everything they need to go abroad, like registering for classes, helping with the visa if needed, putting together excursions, taking tours of the city, etc. Oftentimes, this means that students are grouped with a cohort of other students who are coming to that location from other universities who are also studying abroad. So my example of an affiliate is CEA, and this is the CEA engineering program. So this is the semester or summer program in Paris. Students really like to study with CEA because of the excursions and on-site support they provide. And this is an interesting program because there are engineering courses and non-engineering courses offered in the CEA Study Center, which offers small courses in English in a really neat area of Paris. And this program is in Paris, which I think we're all familiar with. But this is a city that has art everywhere you turn, from the architecture to the museums, to the fashion, to the food, and it has such a unique feel and rhythm. So to be able to take courses in the city, Paris, and stay on track for graduation is really compelling for some students if that's what they're interested in. Okay, so switching gears from here, I wanted to highlight a faculty-led program. Faculty-led programs are programs led by CSU staff or faculty members that travel with a group of CSU students. So this could look like a faculty teaching anywhere from 10 to 25 students. So it's a small group and you will take a course abroad while you're there, you can apply and enhance your learning through various ways like through fieldwork, tours, or projects like is seen here. So this program is Prosthetic Innovation in Ecuador for biomedical engineering students, or for biomedical engineering, and it's led by Brett Beal and Dr. Kevin Lear. And students are introduced to biomedical innovation, prosthetic design, fabrication, function, and delivery for difficult to reach populations. So this program works in partnership with the Range of Motion project, and students will design and test prosthetic technology in a low resource setting alongside the Range of Motion project personnel and clinicians. So for credits, students will earn 1 or 2 credits. And this program is a week long in May in Quito, Ecuador. And students also will have the opportunity to excursion in the Ecuadorian countryside. So if you're interested in this program, you could reach out to Brett Beal or Dr. Lear or Nicole Pulowski, who's our Education Abroad coordinator for this program. So this faculty-led program that I've just talked about is geared toward biomedical engineering, but I did want to mention for engineering students that some students feel it's difficult to study abroad because of their course sequencing or just their preference to stay on campus. However, this doesn't mean that they can't take advantage of short-term programs over the summer or breaks. So perhaps it's something that ties to your major, or perhaps it's another interest of yours. I'm thinking, for example, one of my programs, Shakespeare in Oxford, is so students can study in Shakespeare while living in Oxford, and there's a tutorial, so they'll learn from an Oxford professor. You could go to a library where the Harry Potter some scenes were filmed. But anyway, it doesn't have anything to do with engineering, but if something that you're interested in, you could still do a short-term program over the breaks to get elective credit, for example. But anyway, before I move on, does anyone have any questions, Drew?
Sorry about that. Right now, I'm just sending a message to Emmanuel, who had a question about visas, but otherwise no other questions at the moment.
Okay, great. So I've given you all a lot of options to study abroad, so there's lots to think about. As you consider your program, are there things There are lots of things to think about, including costs, academic fit, and your personal goals. All of these things are important, and we would like to help you find the program that best fits your unique needs and interests. So when I think about how to make decisions in my life, one of my first considerations is cost. So it's important to think about budget at the beginning of the planning process. So this table shows the ranges in cost of attendance and the value of researching program prices as you make decisions. Study abroad doesn't always cost more than staying at the CSU campus. In fact, sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more. Be sure to compare budgets for the total cost of attendance. That includes tuition, books, housing, meals, airfare, visas, immunization, insurance, and personal spending money. An estimated cost of attendance includes an average of all these expenses for a semester. So for a Colorado resident, the estimated cost of attendance for a semester is about $14,000. But then you can also think about your costs at CSU, like rent and personal expenses. So to kind of get an idea of a good comparison to go abroad. So who do you talk to in order to make these choices? There are several other professionals who will advise you as you prepare for your experience abroad. We're all working together to make sure that your questions and needs are addressed. And in our office, when we do these presentations, we always say, working closely with your academic advisor is key. But for engineering students, working together with your academic advisor is really crucial. So on the College of Engineering website, for example, there's a student testimonial about going abroad. Maori, I think she's a mechanical engineering student. She studied abroad at the University of South Australia. Anyway, she mentioned that she started preparing to go abroad her freshman year, and then freshman and first semester sophomore year, and then applied for the program second semester sophomore year and went abroad for semester junior year. And the early preparation was really important for her. So that's what worked for that student, but talk to your academic advisor about what will work for you to go abroad. And I really like that you have that resource, that there's that resource on your website. Okay. So one of the big questions we get is how credits work. So this question depends on the type of program you're on, but we are here to help you work through the whole process. So there are 2 steps in ensuring that credits will work for your degree. So first, you have to have your coursework reviewed by the registrar's office, and they'll determine how each credit comes back to CSU and how many credits that course is worth, and if it'll be counted for upper division or lower division credits. And we do this process through something called a transfer credit form, which you'll hear more about from your Education Abroad coordinator. And then second step is that you take that form to your academic advisor and your academic department, and they will determine how the coursework will fulfill your degree requirements. So it's a 2-step process. So with these approvals, you will know if the credits will keep you on track to graduate in a timely manner. And as I said before, once you have decided on a program, your Education Abroad coordinator will guide you through these steps. Okay, one of the next steps is making your budget. So this is Cindy Maris. We have a dedicated person in the Office of Financial Aid for Education Abroad. We're really lucky. We encourage everyone to go and talk to Cindy. She can look at your current financial aid, grants, loans, and scholarships and give you an idea of how money you have now will go abroad. And the good news is that 99% of your CSU aid, grants, loans will go abroad with you, and they can give you more detail, and Cindy can give you more details on that. It's a good idea to talk to a financial aid advisor before you choose a program so they can help you figure out if it's a good fit for your budget or not. And you can see that special programs at colostate.edu is the email address. And you can also make an appointment with Cindy to talk to her virtually. So scholarships. There are scholarships available, and the best advice when applying for scholarships is how to know the deadlines. Scholarships will rarely fully fund your program, but they can close gaps between your current financial aid and what you'll need to go abroad. So be sure to attend one of our scholarship and fundraising workshops to find and obtain more funds. So you can see the deadlines listed here. And we have a page on our website for scholarships where you can find all of this information. So what scholarship and fundraising workshops, you ask? Here is a list of workshops our office puts on for various scholarships and beyond. It's a good idea to attend these workshops. One of the most important things addressed in the Scholarship 101 workshop, which is on September 12th at 1 p.m., is how to write a scholarship essay to your reader so that your essay stands out. Really important lesson, and you'll learn how at that workshop. All of the sessions will take place via Microsoft Teams. We'll leave this up here for another minute. The Gilman Scholarship is a great scholarship for students who are eligible for the Pell Grant and who are going on education abroad programs for more than 3 weeks in length. The Bourne Scholarship is a scholarship for students studying language or critical language. And beyond scholarships at the bottom there is, so you've applied for scholarships and there's still a gap. What next? What other things can you do? Now that you know all this information, when you're ready to learn more or get specifics about a program, please make an appointment with us. Here are my wonderful colleagues. So we coordinators specialize in different regions of the world. So your assigned coordinator will be based on your program of choice. So I want to make a note of the programs that I've mentioned today. So Christopher Snodgrass, who's at the last listed, advises for the UK and Ireland. So if Swansea sounded interesting to you, that's your coordinator. Drew Doty, who joins us today, so you've already seen him, but you can see this picture of him up top, advises for Oceania. If the University of South Australia caught your eye, Kira Vance advises for Central Europe, and Nicole Plowski is the program coordinator for the Prosthetic Innovation in Ecuador program. So a lot of the processes of planning to go abroad also is asking yourself what your goals are to go abroad. And we're here to help. So if you haven't decided where you'd like to go abroad yet, you can make a general advising appointment with us, or you can pick a place to start. If you already know where you'd like to go abroad, you'll also want to ask yourself what you'd like to do abroad, how long you'd like to be abroad, and your goals. And this will help determine who your coordinator will be. Okay, so that's the basics on getting started, and here are the next steps. So if you're ready to schedule an appointment with the CSU coordinator, just look at the Contact Education Abroad page on our website under the About section. And if you'd like more resources, go to the Student section, and then under there, click Getting Started. And we have an Education Abroad 101 video recorded by peer advisors and other online resources. So you can see our website listed down at the bottom. And I'll leave these next steps up here for another moment. Okay. So one more pitch for the EA Fair. I've highlighted a few sessions coming up and a few that have passed that I think you might be interested in. So if you missed a session, you can find it right now on the CSU International Programs YouTube channel, and it'll also be linked to the website soon. And if you're interested in the future session, and even if you can't make it, if you can't attend that session, please register for it on our website anyway, and then you'll be sent a link to the recording of that session through email. All right, here's our last page, and here is a picture of the Contact Education Abroad slide, or broad page on our website, and you see you can click Schedule an Appointment through Navigate. So now I would like to open up to questions.
Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please type them into our Q&A box down at the bottom.
One thing that I'll start with, that I didn't mention before is a little bit about how we're responding to COVID. I know that's a big one. The Office of International Programs and the International Travel Oversight Committee, which we call ITAC, which involves leaders from across CSU's campus, is monitoring the COVID situation. So currently they're looking at programs with departure dates 2 to 4 months out to make the best decision for the health and safety of students in a timely way. So for summer 2021 programs and fall 2021 programs, CSU will start making decisions after February 15th of 2021. And as you're preparing, if you're preparing for these programs, we do ask that you look at various programs and look at the finances and when you'd be obligated to pay. So for any CSU programs, like exchanges or sponsored programs, we're guaranteeing refunds of your application fees and deposits if we were to cancel the program. But for affiliate programs, that's where it's important to read up on the finances. And we also are encouraging students to have a backup plan, which involves registering for courses at CSU in case that program were to get canceled. And then if the program runs, the students would just withdraw from those classes. And we do hope that international travel will be possible, whether or not there is a vaccine. But no matter what, study abroad will look different than it has in the past. And those differences just depend on the program. So please reach out to the program coordinator. They may or may not know exactly what the future holds yet, but we'll have more information as we get closer. And then by program differences or how programs adjust, that might mean that you'll be wearing a mask or that travel to other destinations during your program time might be limited or whatever it may be. But as departure gets closer, we'll have more information to communicate with you. All right, Drew, any more questions?
We do. We have one from Jeremy. He says, my major is environmental engineering, and I can't seem to find it listed on the website for recommended programs. How will this affect me?
Oh, well, we haven't worked with all departments for the recommended programs list, but come into our office and make an appointment and talk to us, and we can get you started. I might start with some of the English-speaking countries, like the UK or Oceania, just as a place to start for engineering coursework. But once you get going and exploring in the process, come in and talk to us, and we'll find a program that works for you.
We also have Claire Lavelle here from...
Hi, Claire.
Yeah, she also wrote a response to Jeremy's question. She said, you can follow the civil programs for environmental engineering in Swansea is a great fit. She also says, hi, Marie.
Hi, Claire. Oh, this is so great. Thank you so much for being here and for answering that question. I so appreciate that. Talk to Claire for Swansea is a big piece of advice from me.
Another great recommendation for students who can't find their major listed on our recommended programs page is to first talk with your academic advisor to find a semester that's going to work really well for you to go abroad. Usually this is a semester where you have the most elective credits available to take. Once you know what semester that's going to be and what courses you're going to need to take abroad, then you can come see us in our office and we can help better guide you to a program that's going to fit your needs really well. Any other questions out there?
Well, if anyone does have any other questions, the educationabroad@colostate.edu email address is a great place to ask general questions, and then we can give that email to the right person who knows how to answer it. So any additional questions, please send us an email or set up an appointment. We'd love to get to know you and talk to you further about education abroad. All right, Drew, and with that, I think it's time to end the presentation.
Sounds good. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Take care. Bye.